important to raise of the generation or enlightenment mind, generate enlightened mind, that the limitless of sentient beings are actually our parents. You know, they being our parents, and every and each of sentient beings, they're looking for the happiness and also try to avoid the sufferings. So in order to help them, and then we ourselves, we need really strength, quality, and enlightenment, should be attain enlightenment ourselves in order to helping sentient beings. And in order to enlightenment or attain enlightenment, then the bodhicitta mind is very key point, very important part. As we talked yesterday also, we thought bodhicitta, genuine bodhicitta, or we thought essence of that bodhicitta, and we cannot become enlightenment. There is no way to become enlightenment. So therefore, that no matter what we claim, that saying I am Vajrayana practitioners, Mahayana practitioners, etc., but we thought the bodhicitta mind actually, even we study Dzogchen, Shakchen, whatsoever, they should have some benefits. But in the Dzogchen teachings, they mentioned the qualities. Dzogchen teachings, they mentioned there is sound practice of Dzogchen, and that person can be enlightenment in single life. And that person can be also great benefit of the sentient beings, even you are before enlightenment. But all those qualities, it will never appear, if you are lack of the bodhicitta mind. So the bodhicitta mind is really something that the key point of the enlightenment activities, and also the main purpose of the enlightenment is for benefit of the sentient beings. So the purpose of the enlightenment is the benefit of the sentient beings, the Buddha's activities, that which the manifesting different activities for the different sentient beings is the main purpose of the enlightenment. So in order to have this kind of qualities, then we really need to train the mind with the bodhicitta mind. So therefore, the bodhicitta mind is the one of, I think there's nothing more important than bodhicitta mind, you can say actually that way. So now that bodhicitta mind does that we have to have this bodhicitta mind. So today we are learning these books, and these books, the more concerning about bodhicitta mind. How do we raise bodhicitta mind? How to increasing of the bodhicitta mind? How to not become decreased of this bodhicitta mind, and how to increasing of the bodhicitta mind is the main topic of this book. Okay? And so therefore, I think this book is in the ancient masters. They are saying this is like all three times of the Buddha's path. Whoever enlightenment of the beings, it has to learn these things. It has to learn bodhicitta mind. Who are becoming now, or right now become enlightenment, or these kalpas, enlightenment beings, they have to study the bodhicitta mind and such kind of these books. and who will become enlightenment, it has to come through these books, and there's no way to enlightenment. So therefore, this is like really the main part of the three terms of the Buddhas. So we are going to study in this book, and then what we need to think is that we really wish to gain something, or gain this for this study. There's two kinds of benefits. Temporarily, we have to have some rest of the bodhicitta mind. And ultimately, of course, then we have to enlightenment. These two things we have to think. The topic itself is about bodhicitta. And purpose has two things. Temporarily, we have our mind become melt. Mind become transformed into a little bit kindness, or more like built by the wisdom and compassion. And then eventually it has to become enlightenment through practice of the bodhicitta mind, or through method of the such these books. That is we need to think. And then here actually one thing is that this book, the name is called Buddhi Sato Chaya Avatara. So Bodhi is actually that we call, that essence, I think. Sometimes we can call Bodhi is more essence or enlightenment mind. Sempa means more beings. Sato is Tibetan word called Sempa. Sometimes they translate it as like hero of mind or something. Sempa is the Sato. For instance, that Doji Sempa, Vajra Sato. So Sato, they translate in Tibetan into some translate as Sempa. So this Sempa means such that brave, beings, we can call brave mind, brave beings. So Bodhisattvas, when they are practicing, they're practicing, that the already the beginning, like aspiration, we are thinking of the like limitless of sentient beings. Really, the mind rests to the limitless of sentient beings instead of only myself or my family or my relatives, etc. So that is already like very extraordinary mind. And then the being helping to sentient beings, generally we can help one or two sentient beings 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. But there are eons of eons ready to helping sentient beings, or have been already helping sentient beings, eons of the eons. So the term is very big, not only 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, 1 life, even 1 eon, but limitless of eons. They are already brave. Without brave, they cannot. And then the such kind of also, not only they helping with some kind of material or some physical things like that, but even the great Bodhisattvas, they can really offer like eyes, arms, like part of the body, they are also ready to help, if they really necessary, if there is such thing. So therefore, there is such kind of difficult, generally, that we try to help something. Each of our human beings has some, kindness there, because every sentient being has the Buddha nature. So therefore, that Buddha nature is actually like the just only quality of the, like enlightenment mind. There is omniscient wisdom, there is loving kindness and compassion, but somehow like that we try to very limited, our helping others are very limited. Amount, object, sentient beings are limited, time is limited, like actual action is limited. So the Bodhisattvas, those are the unlimited, time, object, also the actual action, any kind of. So therefore, the hero of mind, which we do not have general people. Even, Shavakayana practitioners, particular Buddhayana practitioners, even they call ahas. They are ahas, but still they do not have such kind of thinking of the limitless mind, the object of the sentient beings. Eons of trams are ready to be sentient, helping to sentient beings, being in samsara. And even those great Bodhisattvas, be born in hell realm is for them is one of the most joyful. I think in today some special guys, they are like happy to do some difficult things, right? Because they learned, they have professional, they have such kind of qualities, so they are happy to do such things. So similarly, the Bodhisattvas, they are ready and happy to go even hell realms, such things. And those, Shavakayana and particular Buddha practitioners, they do not have such things. So, and that sato means like that. Then charya or charya whatsoever in the Sanskrit, and that is more conduct, actions. So all Bodhisattvas, the action you can put into 6 paramitas. The 6 paramita is the one of them, like almost you can say all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas actions into 6 paramitas. Sometimes they do have talk about 10 paramitas, but you can summarize into 6 paramitas. So in this book, the main topic is 6 paramitas. However, there is not directly anything talking about generosity parts, generosity, what you call this parameters. They don't talk like very clearly, but the great masters, they are saying that first 3 chapters and the last dedication chapter, these are the more like really generosity, the practice of the generosity. So therefore, these 4 chapters are, they call the chapter of this first paramita, generosity paramitas, and then from that, after 4th chapter, they already speaking of this ethic and etc. So therefore, this charya is more like that. They're talking about bodhicharya, what's called conduct or ethic of the Mahayanas. Then there's they talk about this avatara. Avatara is like entered into that. Someone they want to practice, then you need to really enter into that. Entered means that how to practice. How to practice of the Bodhisattva avacharya is like entered. So there, and then when they talk about the entered into, and then there is like 3 main subjects, 3 main subjects. The great different masters, they're little different way to explain. As I mentioned, such the Zapata Rinpoche, they're talking about first 3 chapters, how to raise of the bodhicitta mind, and second 3 chapters is like how to keep that bodhicitta mind, and then last 3 chapters is more like how to increasing of the bodhicitta mind, and then the last chapter is for the dedication of the practice. So however, so now the thing is here, entered. So how we can enter is that we should really, the entered way is that study of the Mahayana teachings, such like firstly hearing, reflection, meditation. This is like how to enter, how to enter into the books. So such books that we are today studying, that means you are already entered into it. And if maybe in the future you may you have some kind of analyzing about this, researching about these books, I think that most the Westerners, we do have such kind of system or habit tendencies of the research about things. you know, very small things you are researching many, many years and make very big books. That is very good for your waste of time. But if you really do such kind of bodhicitta, for instance, someone research, you know, someone practice, someone really research of the like experience, you know, how it will really happen. If we study, if we reflection and meditation, that way if you research in the future about bodhicitta, for instance, so that is how you were entered into this book, you know. So therefore, where to enter is like hearing, reflection, meditation is one way to you can sort of speak. And then other, we can say that also entered into like practice of the six paramatas, study of the six paramatas, applying of the six paramatas, and meditation on the six paramatas. Maybe you don't know six paramatas, but you will know slowly, okay? It will come in six paramatas and all these things, they will come in very details, so don't be so. So there's three kind of, you know, when they talk about entered into this book. So first, they're talking about what kind of people they need. That yesterday we talked, what kind of people can enter in these books. So then they talk about we need that at least 8 freedoms and 10 endowments. You know, I think we taught those in Mahayana traditional, directly speaking, it's possible also, because it's possible because in the books or in the teaching of Mahayanas, they are saying that bodhicitta can be arising even, you know, animals, god realms, and etc. So they do not have such 8 freedoms and 10 endowments. However, if you really want to be authentic, you know, human being who are entered, very authentic, then we do have also such kind of like bhakti moksha vows and etc. So if you have the bhakti moksha vows, then it has to have also 8 freedoms. You know, it has to be human beings, it has to be lineage of the bhakti mokshas and etc. So therefore, like perfectly, you know, correct kind of quality of the people, it does necessary to have these 8 freedoms and 10 endowments. However, like, how you say, unspecially, commonly, it's also possible to rise of the other forms of the beings anyway. But in Shantideva, he mentioned about the need to be 8 freedoms and 10 endowment is more like really perfectly if you practice, then you have to have this. Or someone who has such 8 freedoms and 10 endowments, you have no doubt about that I am, or something that may be not enough body or something, you are enough. And then that kind of person, then what, that next was like what kind of the mind they need to prepare to enter into. You know, what kind of mind they needed, you know, who are become entered into this book. And then third one is the actual kind of application of the entered. So there's 3 main subjects. So today, that second one, what kind of mind we need, you know, what kind of mind need to prepare, etc. So mind, you know, that second one, the list is kind of summarized, is quite important. So you have to know firstly the mind, or mind should know that what quality, you know, what kind of benefit and qualities. And then once you know the qualities, then mind has to be ready to receiving the vows, or, you know, the receiving the teachings and etc. So therefore, I think yesterday we are talking about that we are in the knowing of the quality and benefit of the bodhicitta mind. So, and there was actual, you can get pain over. So the first one, you know, the knowing of the quality and benefit, they have 3 actual qualities and then the logic of these qualities, and then praise of the who has this bodhicitta mind. There was three things. So yesterday we spoke of the actual benefits or qualities. They have been talking many ways, such that examples, and or that there's like yes. Anyway, that was already is gone. Already we studied, so we cannot, I think, repeat again because of our time. But I hope maybe if you listen more in the future in the videos and recordings, that should be okay. And then today we are on that what they call is that logic of the, I think, logic, and the showing of the logic, how these qualities are possible. They talk about a lot of qualities, and then might someone have doubt about how possible it has such qualities, and then they should have some kind of logic. So in that subject has two things. One, mainly the Buddha's word. They use Buddha's words, and other is more like really logic. More like really use some kind of such logic. And then first one we already told, and then second one, the showing the really logic one. Then that is the one from the mind and one from the actual application, like particular, I think, actual actions. They kind of two things. And then the first one has to the kind of the vastness of the, how should I say that, focusing, vastness of the focusing. That means like such that the saying that someone, just one person is like free from the sickness, try to helping the free from sickness, one or two people, or just only wish to free someone's sickness, and that kind of mind is very beautiful mind, powerful mind, right? And I think people like that kind of things, and that is something really very virtue. So it's like such kind of great kind of conceptions. But now Bodhisattva not only wish that one or two or small kind of sickness, but immeasurable of sentient beings, or they wish to become free from the negative emotions. So that is like such more vast than the object, and also this temporary sickness and the negative emotion sickness is very big difference. So the actual thinking is such big difference than just small thinking. So that's the reason also even small kind of positive thinking has such kind of virtue and qualities. Then there's no question such, someone really thinking much more high than that. So that is one kind of, how you say that, logic. And then that yesterday we spoke about last one. They call, I think, particular kind of quality, or they say but this is something, there is no existing, this kind of quality is not existing inwardly. So we stop here that could our father or our mother ever have so generous wish? Do the very good gods, do the very gods, the rishis, even Brahmas, harbor such benevolence as this? And so forth, this 23rd, 24th, 25th verses yesterday we talked. So here, actually, our parents are very wonderful, right? The parents has really, who can care, more care than our own parents to us, generally speaking, right? The parents is most kindness to us. But generally, the parents, what they taught us is like, they try to taught try to teach us how to make, good money, good family, and like how to take care of your wife, children, and something like more. They teach more worldly things. I think it's rarely you hear really something that parents says, "Oh, you should give everything to others," or you're thinking of the other is more than yourself. We never hear this thing, even though they are very dear to us. But so now, here they're talking about something big different than that. So this kind of compassion mind or bodhicitta mind, we won't hear from father or mother and etc. And also worldly gods, sages, dharmas, those are such powerful beings. Sages is like not just some kind of, ordinary powerful one. They can be live long time, live lives, hundreds of years. They have such achievements. However, I think, of course, in these sages means like more like that non-Buddhist or some yogis, not Buddhists are the sages. So those does not have such this kind of things. And even here saying of for themselves, they did not think of this. So therefore, how they could tell to others? Such kind of the bodhicitta mind, compassionate mind, loving mind. I think that, if someone really loves or compassion, we like it, right? We like, oh, he is really very compassionate. And we remember that person many days, many years, even you meet only one time or two times. So, they have such powers like that. And these kind of, teachings, we do not hear from them, and Shantideva says, even they did not think this kind of mind for themselves, even in the dreams and etc. So therefore, how they are really thinking of for others, to teach like that, care of like that, and etc. So therefore, bodhicitta is like, this is like far more particular quality or extraordinary than worldly, whatsoever you think of the kindness or etc., or there doesn't have such things. So yesterday we stopped here. So these two things, the first, this sentence I think is, that's 21 and 22 is more like the actual, the thing, thinking, like they compare of the worldly thinking and then bodhicitta way of thinking. Worldly people think that they are trying to help some sickness. I think that Christianity, what called religion?
Christianity.
Christianity, they talk about a lot about helping of the, build of the hospital and things like that. It's wonderful. But if you think of the compare of the bodhicitta way of thinking, it's very, very big difference. So therefore, the first one is like worldly way of thinking and bodhicitta way of thinking, they are compared. So with you compare with that, I think the bodhicitta way of thinking is very high. This is kind of some kind of logic. It's logically they are very high. And then second one is the more they compare of the like great beings, like we, like that such kind of, we talk about that very, how I could say, like for us, like the parents are very high, and there may be gods and sages and dharmas, and these things are such kind of important person, but those persons, they does not really carry of the all sentient beings equally. So therefore, like the bodhicitta is, if you compare those is like uncomparable. And then now here, next is more like actual actions. I think actual actions, they're talking about actions. There's two kind of list. The actual, the action, also the such vast, like vision of the action, and this kind of vastness of the action doesn't have any other religions. Other religions, they are talking two things. So, then I think here they're talking about so immeasurable of sentient beings have such kind of suffering, or we call the cause and condition of the suffering. And in order to remove such these things, that we call the precious bodhicitta mind. And here they're talking about, that medicine. Sometimes we use as nectars. Such nectar which can remove all the, sickness, that we call general nectars. Nectar, I don't know, today we have or not, but in ancient time, historically, they talk about nectar, which they remove of the all kind of sickness. So that is supposed to be one of the highest nectars, okay? So this that can remove of the all kind of your sickness. So likewise, the precious mind or bodhicitta mind has such power to remove of the all our negative emotions, which is really long-term sickness. Physically we can be fine. You can be healthy. Whenever you're born, you can be healthy some years, sometimes. But mentally, as long as we have such these emotions, it's never become really healthy, I think. So, however, the really removal of such this kind of negative emotions or cause and condition of the sufferings, then we need such kind of bodhicitta mind. So this kind of bodhicitta mind is what we want to hear is that the merit or the quality is something that we cannot really measure. The firstly, again, if we say something, the way of thinking is very vast, as well as also very deep. So such that the quality is also became like that. So one of the excellent prayers, they says that the space is limitless and sentient beings are limitless, and then our aspiration is limitless. So therefore, that text says the result, aspiration of the result is also limitless. So similarity like this here also saying that our action of the bodhicitta can remove all the cause and condition of the sufferings of the all sentient beings, not only one sentient being. So therefore, vastness of the vision of the actual actions. And then one Buddha's word, I want to read this. Sonam okay. That is sentient pen, somebody songjin chobali, chebadu papa, so one of the Buddha's sutra teaching, the core king of the samatha, king of this meditation, okay, king of the meditation, things in Jabu, in Tibet word, I think king of the samadhi, and he says that even you are thinking of the benefit of sentient beings, and that is much more merit than if you offered to the immeasurable of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and all kind of precious things. Shiva taught it Choba normal and time is like also measureless, like such. Eons, for instance. Even just thinking of this. And then someone who really try to practice on it, such that we are studying today here, and we are thinking about bodhicitta mind, and hopefully maybe one day we really apply these things in our mind, and also we try to apply it to the really, to help others, and then the merit and benefit quality is something that cannot really compare all the such things. They are talking two things. Someone thinking of the helping sentient beings is much more powerful than someone who really offering all kind of jewelry and things like that. And they cannot compare. But then someone really actually apply these things, even, we cannot measure. So this does not mean that someone really offering such things has no merit. And there is such great merit. And that is also really, if you read of the sutta teachings, how have such kind of merit of the someone offering to the things to Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, even one flowers, one incense, and they also talking about immeasurable merit. But if you compare about the bodhicitta mind, we are thinking of the benefit to others, and then it's such big difference. That is one thing. And then now here, this kind of that beneficial is not existing in the others. They say in the others it doesn't have such things. Okay. So I think basically what we call here is that every and each of us, we don't want to suffer. We really wish to be free from suffering, isn't it? Every and each of sentient beings. However, generally people, they think they are connection for cause and condition of the happiness. We try to get job. We think this is cause of happiness, right? We try to get money. We think this is cause of happiness. And we try to get some power from something. We think this is cause and condition of the happiness. And because of that, I think we are working on it like all the time, morning to evenings. So therefore, here says, we doing such things like that. Indeed, what we want, we wish to free from suffering, but our action is more like really collecting of the, that cause and condition of the unhappiness. So that is like, why? Because of we have some ignorance. We do not know really such kind of the cause of happiness. I think what I heard is that, even today, nobody really talk about what the really cause of happiness. And 100 years ago, they think that really economic can make happiness. And they try to go to that way. And we are developed very highly. But happiness is still far away. So, same thing, I think many ways. So therefore, then what you are saying is that the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas who have such great kindness ones, they think what we are doing is not the really cause and condition of the happiness, or we won't be satisfied. So if you want to become really like full, happy or joy, then we need the great compassion. The compassion can cut off the suffering. And we need such kind of wisdom. As such, that kind of wisdom can really also cut the main problem is that ignorance, right? Ignorance, we don't see what the really cause and condition of the happiness. And we think of the this is maybe good for cause and condition of happiness, that is good for cause and condition of the happiness, but reality there is nothing. So the why is because of the such that we have ignorance. So ignorance you can remove through the wisdom. Suffering can remove through the compassion. So bodhicitta mind means the kind of unique of the compassion and wisdom. Sometimes we talk about regenerate mind or the enlightenment. That is also bodhicitta mind, talking about the compassion and wisdom. So therefore, there is nothing here. What they're talking is there is no such really good condition, a cause and condition existing except the bodhicitta mind. So therefore, actually, today I think we have really great education systems, like eastern part of the education system, west part of the education system, development of something. The highest of the education is what? I think must be bodhicitta mind. The highest of the education. There is no such kind of great vision, great kind of, how you say, mind. There's nothing such like, bodhicitta mind. If you really study more about bodhicitta mind, you can feel it, how way of thinking, how way of applying, what the result of those kind of aspect of the mind. So therefore, I think one of the great masters says that if there's any, if someone tries to push one of the great education, and that must be the bodhicitta mind. So here what this topic, what they're saying is that there's nothing more great than bodhicitta mind. So here also saying same things, similar things. So bodhicitta mind is the unique of the compassion and wisdom. So compassion cut of the suffering. If you have very strong compassion to someone, I think you forget your pains sometimes, your sickness, your problems. If someone very ready to helping something, we forget what we need to do, right? If you are not helping, maybe we remember, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, and so on and so forth. But sometimes we have such mind, we're really very eager to help someone, we forget many things you need to do. Maybe you forget also to drink water, eat food, etc. This is some kind of really, how you say that, effect of the little compassion. Not this bodhicitta compassion, okay? But then if we have become bodhicitta compassion, I think this worldly small things, you won't see this. Okay, you won't see this. So therefore, this subject they're talking about such kind of that powerful or quality. There's nothing else, nothing comparable of the bodhicitta mind. So there is no such kind of. Okay, now anyway, that I think I was already kind of told, so maybe it has to be read from the 28th. I think yesterday I already read about this 26th and 27th too, isn't it?
Yes, we finished.
Yesterday 28th, right?
Yes.
Right, I realize it now. A little bit too late, but. Oh, so 28th. Now, for being long to free themselves from misery, but misery itself they follow and pursue. They long for joy, but in their ignorance destroy it is they would therefore. But those who feel with bliss, all being destitute of joy, who cut all pain and suffering away from those weighed down with misery, who drive away the darkness of their ignorance. What virtue could be matched with theirs? What friend could be compared to them? What merit is this similar to others? So this, they talk about compare. They talk about also friend. What friend could be compared? Also, that means that anyway, they are cutting the sufferings, ignorance, such things. So these kind of things we won't get from anywhere else. The friend means that worldly we have something one friend we think is very important, right? One friend. If we have 2 friends, we think, oh, I have good friends. If we have 5 friends or 10 friends, 100 good friends, I think you think I am something special. I have 100 good friends. And we make party yesterday, there was 100 people came or something. But if you have become really Buddhist of a mind, the limitless of sentient beings are your friend. Okay? So here what they're talking is that we cannot compare of these ordinary friends. And ordinary friends or this kind of, they give some benefits, but the quality of the Bodhicitta mind is something uncomparable. Okay, and then they now the one of the main topic that who have, the praise of the person who have the Bodhicitta mind. Buddha mentioned also such who have who have Bodhicitta mind, and then Buddhas are the praise, or that you can say also qualities of the such who have the Bodhicitta mind. There are the topic like 5 kind of list. So the first one, Tume Pendovatos. And those Bodhicittas, the benefit to others are not dependent on something. So our friends, our ordinary kind of benefits are very much depend on something. If you be nice, maybe your friend can be also very nice to you, right? If you be a little different and your friend or whoever, it will different face and different acts and different things like that. But the really Bodhisattvas and they're not dependent on what others are doing or something like that. So now here what they talk, if they're saying, if someone do some good things to you, and then that person, he makes good to you, then we say, oh, he's a really nice person because I offer 1 cup of tea for him, but next time he offer me meals, right? He offer me meals. So he is really, then we say, talk about good things about them, right? We are praised for him, isn't it? And why he did to you? Because you offer only cup of coffee, and he offer meal to you. So therefore, he is very good one. Now people talk very highly. But Bodhisattvas, no one needed to ask, or no one needed to do something. They ask or give something tea or water. They are ready for whoever needed. Not necessarily recourse, not necessarily offering something, not necessarily, praise, or not necessarily something. We taught anything, and they are ready for us. That is one way you can understand this. And then also, worldly, if they are doing something, it's again very temporary. It's like, temporary means that also very limited, very limited. We do some great kind hearts, it really helps when they see some poor animals, poor people, or something, but not limitless of sentient beings, not limitless of our space. and so on and so forth. And also you need to see something really a suffering, tortures, and something that maybe we raise some compassion inwardly, but Bodhisattvas, that they have seen that everyone has this potential of the suffering. So therefore, so why we need to praise the Bodhisattvas? Because even without asking, they are ready to help it. Not only very short or small amount, but long term and limitless of sentient beings. So that was this sentence. So I will read that, okay? If someone who returns a favor is deserving of some praise, some praise. Why need we spoke of Bodhisattvas, those who do good even unsolicited? It's clear? Okay, good for you. At least someone clear. And then I think the next one is that the next one is that in worldly, now more talking about generosity, generosity. The worldly or our ordinary, this generosity is very important. Really generosity makes a lot kind of help, and also generosity makes a lot of accomplishments. Chandrakriti says that Chandrakriti, he prays about this generosity, like something that if you really want to accomplishing, those accomplishing of the worldly things, if such someone has like generosity mind, generosity hands, and they can be very easily accomplishing many things. So generosity is like one of the very high quality of the human realms, human society. So, but human society generosity is again same things. Here they're talking about the object can be gold, can be silver, can be money, can be clothes, can be food, etc. And those we can use for one lifetime. One lifetime. If you have such things, if you don't generosity at all, you cannot use more than one lifetime. And if you generous to someone, he or she can be also used one lifetime. Right? The generous to things itself, I mean. And still this generosity is who have generosity, and people praise, people really saying very highly things. Nichi nishe chongwa shiba yung, okay, namaga yusin, rowa nyongda sona tu namade, lorong dabar eki lere nubo sikawso. And here saying that the small amount of the object, and then we generous to things like can be food, clothes, etc., any worldly precious things. And yoga niji, and then way of the generosity is also two kind of things. There's certain generosity people, they really generous to with very respectfully, and that is something also how you say, very high quality people do such things. But then normal people, if you give some kind of food, let's say there's like 100 kind of beggars come here, then we offer foods. I think we don't bring this knife and forks and five different glasses or 4 different plates and things like that. We don't do that, right? But if you eat something, then we have 3 glass plates and soup bowls and knife, fork, many glass of wine, red water, and etc. We put a lot of things on the table and then we enjoy. And these two things are very big different. So therefore, those people, generous ones, when they generous to those poor people, might be a little bit like, I think, that what the use of this English, okay, maybe this Nietzsche is like undermined, I think, undermined. There was also another word, I will check what they translated here. With the plant or the ordinary fruit, moment gives, okay, those who are content support the praise of the donor, those who with contempt support, few with plant of the ordinary fruit, moment give to the only half of bread. What needs of this speak of those? Okay, there is not all. What is this contempt support? Little bit pushed down, right? Okay, contempt, yes. Way of the general kind of things like that. So even doing such that way, and people that really talk about very highly, those, oh, they are those people, the generous thing, or the foods, they give to the every once a month, for instance, if we can do such things. There's like 100 beggars, and if we offer once a month food, some kind of simple food, a little bit this contempt ways, however, but still people talk very highly, highly. But then, if this compared with Bodhisattvas, then it's uncomparable. So Bodhisattva's generosity is such really, we already, I think, there was talking, but the amount of the people, amount of the time, and the gift is like we are trying to bring the Buddha nature or Buddha quality. We are trying to give, Buddha quality to others, like hearing the Dhamma teachings, and practice the Dhamma teachings and things like that. It's like giving of the, actually Buddha quality. So therefore, the beneficial is also big different, action is big different, amount is very big different. So therefore, so the beneficial is, I think, one of the commentary says that never become kind of disappeared. As long as there's space, your beneficial will be there. So therefore, like, this is something that praise of the generosity ways, generosity ways. I will read this, okay? People praise as virtuous donors, those who with contempt support a few plain and ordinary food, a moment gift that feeds for only half a day. And what need is there to speak of those who long based on countless multitudes, the peerless joy of blissful Buddhahood, the ultimate fulfillment of their hopes. I hope you can get clearly. And then the next is they're talking about Bodhisattvas, a very special object, particular object, So this is like, it's called important parts, okay? But then the such that the who have such bodhicitta mind and bodhicitta mind, then we call Bodhisattvas. Okay, that is we call Bodhisattvas. So Bodhisattva is very important object. If we have one Bodhisattva, or in this world, for instance, I think that is one of the very special object such that if you are linked with good, it will be really good things happen, like your merit increase in such way. And if we are linked also badly, then also the result also can be very bad, So therefore, that kind of Bodhisattva is the particular object. So, such that kind of Bodhisattva, he says, if someone really have very bad mind, kind of wrong views or something, and then that person who has such kind of things, so here says that moment, how long you keep of the bad kind of, that maybe the bad mind, I think translate, we will see what they talk, but in Tibetan, I say directly kind of wrong thinking or bad mind, as long as you keep at that moment, such that long, the result can be born in the hell realms. So why they are showing here or saying this is that also if we able to keep good and positive mind with such kind of great bodhisattvas, then even for ourselves, maybe we don't have yet capacity to raise of the bodhicitta mind, but it will also its support. It is really great kind of benefit to become raise bodhicitta mind, become born bodhicitta mind in our mind. Anybody rose that was these things are such that we do not know, such kind of very tiny of the result and cause and condition and the result is only Buddha can explain these things. So therefore, here also that why here the saying of the Buddha told, Shantideva says, okay, maybe I will read this first. Although who harbor evil in their mind against such lords of generosity, the Buddha's heirs, will stay in hell in might sage has said. So might said means in this case Buddha said. Buddha said. So Shantideva, maybe he knows also, but I think mostly in this kind of tiny cause and effect things, they use always Buddha's words, because only Buddha can discourage from these things. So, and then there was how or where they say is that when the Buddha and Bodhisattva Manjushri, when they discuss about these things, and then Buddha told to Manjushri, the Buddha Manjushri, he told someone who really kind of that wrong view or contempt of the great Bodhisattvas, and the result is that you will be, like long time in the hell realms. And that is like bad way of the kind of result or linked with the Bodhisattvas. And then the others, they says that, again he's saying that, and if someone has such kind of good or good link, respect, rejoicing, faith, etc., then that also the result is, I think he used some very long, but I don't know, maybe this a little bit too long, but he says that merit is anyway, is no countless merit, I will say in short, countless merit. Only you watch with the, like devotionally to watch that Bodhisattvas, and this merit is something that uncountable. So therefore, I think we should not really lose our hopes. We never know. Our mind, of course, a little bit stubborn and things like that. But maybe one day we see such kind of great Bodhisattvas. At that moment, maybe our mind can be very calm and cool, and may have such kind of great devotion arising. At that moment, I think, also wrapping up the many qualities instantly. At the day, if you read of the great masters, all those great masters are not masters before, but they become masters. And way of the become master is someone the very hard work, For instance, if you check about the Mullaripa's biography, he was very tough guy. Like he killed many people, did some bad things, but then the end, he become, great master. But his life was very hard life. But there is also some other masters, they get blessing through the dream, through the some kind of vision, and through the really, some masters put hands on head, and that kind of person also change their mind and become again great. Become great masters, okay? Became great master, and that is another. So therefore, we should not kind of lose our hopes. So that is one thing. And then last one is, okay, then last one is that you want to zoom in with them, and then is last, or not last one, actually there's two, and the second last. There is like, who have such kind of, have bodhicitta mind, and then we call bodhisattvas, and those bodhisattvas, and they will be okay. So those who have such kind of bodhicitta mind, and then even someone try to harm or hard works or hardships or whatsoever, and those great bodhisattvas will not arise in bad minds or kind of negative minds. And because of that also, the virtues become even increasing, more kind of, someone try to harm or try to do something, but still the bodhisattvas, that does not really kind of change of their minds. Like more, if you say that, your antidote is more powerful than like actual these actions. So therefore, the bodhisattvas virtue become more increasing, and then virtue become more increasing, and then their marriages become more increasing, and marriage become more increasing. Then their, I think, realization and their these things are also become more increasing. So therefore, basically, this topic, what they're saying here is that suffering cannot harm to the bodhisattvas. That was the main kind of this two sentence. The first two sentence is saying like that. Suffering cannot harm to the bodhisattvas. So, okay. The first, all those who harbor evil of the mind against such lords of the generosity, the bodhisattva heirs, is one part. And now next one is another part, subject. This we call the bodhisattvas cannot harm by the sufferings. Will stay in hell, the mind sage has said, for age equal to moment of the dear lives. Okay, then I didn't find. Oh, okay, maybe next one, I think. Next one is, but joys and devotion thoughts will yield abundant fruit of the gathering strength. Even a great trouble bodhisattva never bring forth wrong, their virtues naturally increasing. That was word to God. Okay, then to them in whom this precious jewel of mind is born, to them I go for refuge to the, but this is, I didn't see here one thing, so this translation. Anyway, Tibet one, the Tibet word is called Jasi Namla, Togar Chimbicho, Dikpar Manjong, Gewa Long Health, even the great trouble Bodhisattva never brings forth wrong with. Okay, that is the, I think, that is the things. Never bring forth wrong, their virtue naturally increasing. Okay, that I will be taught. And then next of this sentence, Kona sentence number the Shibate Kola Shanta Shings. So that what they mean is that who have such Buddhist Gita mind, and that person we call Bodhisattva. That person is the object of the prostrations, object of the refugees. So generally we do prostrations, when we see Lama, when we see holy kind of things, then we do prostrations. So the prostration has such kind of meanings, but I can talk more later because they will be coming also about prostration things. However, such someone have bodhicitta mind, I think even we do just prostration, and that can be really great circumstances. So in the Tibetan traditions, whenever we see the masters, we do prostrations. We do make 3 times prostrations whenever we see the great masters. So, of course, I think before, when we were young, we don't know why we do prostrations. But when you're really studying of the more about the Dharma and more about the, like such kind of bodhicitta mind. So we never know who have really bodhicitta. We don't know. 3 times prostration, it doesn't cost anything for us, So if you do really such devotion, to prostrations, such someone has the bodhicitta mind, just doing by prostrations can be great accumulation merit. So that result can be, never kind of exhausted, and instead of the increased. So therefore, so he put here one quotation. Okay, so anyway, such kind of great mass bodhisattvas, such great bodhisattvas is the object of the prostration, object of the refuge, and they are such kind of the source of the happiness, and because of that we really took refuge, and even we try to harm, and that can be also good result happened. And first sentence they says that it can be goes to the hell realms, and this sentence says even you harm, it can be very good things. So what you are now understood from that 2 sentences. Anyway, to them in whom this precious jewel of mind is born, to them I bow. I offer refuge to those springs of happiness. Means that enlightenment mind, okay? This, I think, brings to the enlightenment mind. And to bring the very enemies to perfect bliss. Okay, we can stop here 10 minutes.